to another episode of That Portuguese Knitter. In this video, I will be sharing everything I knit during 2025 with some additions from 2024 because that's when I restarted my journey through knitting. So yeah, I'll be sharing a few, not many, maybe 2 or 3 projects that I knitted during 2024 too. I decided not to add any introduction to this video because these videos can get really long, which is something I don't really like knitting videos. So I just believe that shorter video is more suitable, at least for me. So I'll be doing that for you, and I'll keep going through my pieces as quick as I can. So I'll be short and sweet because some of these pieces are also featured on other episodes of my channel. So I will link that all below so you can check a little bit more details if you want to see something more detailed about a specific project. So I just wanted to start to say that I actually knitted more than I expected during 2025. I was able to do 17 different projects, or 18 because there's a set that actually is 2 different pieces, and that's much more than I expected. Taking an oversight view of my year, accessories were not my major investment during 2025. I mostly knit garments for me and for my son, and some summer knits, which was the first time I knitted summer knits. So yeah, and I also completed a few other things that I will share with you. So let's begin. During 2024, I restarted knitting for several reasons. I just, picked up, after being a new mom, I just picked up some momentum in knitting, and it became a huge driving of energy for me. So yeah, I just wanted to share a few bits that I started knitting during 2024. The first one is this a small Ellen's cardigan for my son. This is a petite knit pattern, and I knit this in Youth Monochrome Fingering, which is a superwash yarn, and I combined this with Sanders Garn silk mohair that I had in my stash for about 5 years now, maybe a little bit more. Yes, maybe a little bit more, maybe 7 years. So yeah, I just combined the 2 yarns, and I think the result is very nice. I added a small buttons, wooden buttons, and what I love about this project is these little pockets that really don't make sense for a small child, but now my son is a toddler and he still wears this, and he's starting to get those little trinkets into his pockets, and it's so nice when I find something that I can appreciate on his pockets. So I love this. It was my first project when I restarted knitting, and I think it has a nice place on my heart because of that. So afterwards, I went to Copenhagen and I brought some wool from there. I visited the Knitting for Olive studio / store, and I brought some yarn with me. And so I picked up some yarn to work on my Daydream cardigan by Kika. I worked this in Knitting for Olive Heavy Merino in the color Rust, and held it together with Knitting for Olive Soft Silk Mohair in the same color. The original pattern uses an alpaca wool and a silk mohair to give it structure. I really wanted a more structured, bulky aspect to my cardigan, so I decided to go for the Heavy Merino. I'm very happy about it. Since then, I worked with the Merino from Knitting for Olive, and I would choose to hold 2 yarns together from the Merino and 1 from silk mohair instead of using the Heavy Merino because I like the result more. but I'm very happy about it. This is maybe the piece that I wear the most during the last winter, and I already used it so many times this fall winter season. So I'm very happy about it. I just added some turquoise, I think it is called, buttons to my cardigan, and I think the result is very nice. I use it a lot. I might do another daydream cardigan in the future, but maybe in a different yarn with to get a different texture. But for now, I'm really happy with this. The next project is what I'm wearing. It is my wishbone sweater, also from Kika. You will see I knitted a lot of Kika's patterns during 2025 because I discovered the Daydream cardigan. I love it so much, and then I fell in love with wishbone sweater, which is my favorite project of the whole year because it is so scrunchy. It is so beautiful. It's very nicely designed, and in this one I decided to go for 2 strands of merino from Knitting for Olive, as well as the Knitting for Olive soft silk mohair. The color I chose was oatmeal. The color that is available now on the website for the oatmeal is a little bit lighter now, but at the time it was the color that I enjoyed most, and I really like the result. It's very warm. I'm not able to wear this from maybe March on, and not until the end of December here in Portugal because we don't have that harsh winter. But when I go to the countryside, it is maybe my go-to because it is very warm. It's very versatile, but I really like to wear it with a skirt or a dress. And yeah, it's very squishy. The pattern is beautiful, as you can see. I added the optional short rows for the shaping of the neckline, and I really recommend it. If you are not comfortable with short rows, you can go ahead. It's just so easy, and for at least for this piece, it gives it the nicest finish. The only thing I would say is that compared with the pieces that Kika did for this pattern, I would size up because I think this sweater goes very well with an oversized fit. Maybe you have to not go overboard with your sleeves, otherwise they will, cover your hands completely. But otherwise, I'll think the oversized is the way to go for this pattern. And I really recommend it visually, and the feeling of it. Maybe this is my most favorite project of the year because of that. But yeah, I don't wear it that much because it's very warm and we don't need that pieces that are so warm that you only can wear it for during maybe 1 month or 2 in the year. So next up, there's another Kutawakikas pattern, which is a Rebel Soul beanie that I don't really have with me because it was a gift knit from my mom. But I will give you some images, maybe around here, so you can see. And I knit that in raw and pure wool DK that I had on my stash for several years, and I added a scrap of Sandy's Garn silk mohair in the same color that I used for this the Ellen's cardigan for my son, and I really like the results. She wears it a lot, which is very nice, and she does not complain about the itchiness of the mohair. I know Sandy's Garden silk mohair is not the softest, but she's not complaining. She has bangs, so maybe that's why. Yeah, I'm very happy with the result, and I will be for sure using this pattern again, maybe very soon, but we'll see. And because I also had some of the Urt monochrome fingering that I used for the Ellen's cardigan, left also, I decided to go and make another beanie, which I did for my husband. This is the 2x2 hat by Sari Nordland, and it is exactly a 2x2 pattern. It's very easy to follow. It is worked top down. It's a different type of construction from the previous one that I knitted. So I just really wanted to try it. But as I said, the Yours Monochrome fingering is a superwash based, and this project and the next one were the ones that, you know, I accept the terms that I really don't like superwash. I might use it for socks because I understand why it can be interesting for socks for specific textures and something, but I don't really like superwash because in the end, I don't really like the beanie. Not because of the pattern, but because of the fits. It doesn't hold its shape. It stretches too much. The other thing I don't really like is that I think my edge, my bind off, it's not knit, and I think that is not only because this maybe was my first Italian bind off, which can be also tricky, but the yarn itself doesn't hold your hand on the finishing touches. So I won't be using it again for this type of projects. I might use it for other things, maybe socks, but this will be one of the projects that I will definitely frog because my husband just don't wear it. Sometimes he starts to wear it just to try to convince me that this is okay, but in the end I just ask him just not to wear it, just because I can just frog it and use it for another project, which it's fine. So the next project was also something I don't really like. It is my cognac sweater that is by a pattern by Atelier Castan. And the thing I don't like about my sweater is not related to the pattern. The pattern is well written, it's nicely done. I saw beautiful projects done with this pattern. It's just, again, my naivety about yarn choices. I just had learned that something went wrong with my previous project. And I decided that because I had this fingering weight yarn that was superwash in a sweater quantity that I brought from the Netherlands, I could add a studio alpaca and make a cognac sweater with the correct gauge. I'd swatch for that, and the swatch went well, but after I made it, I blocked it, and it grew a lot because superwash and studio alpaca, it just asking for me to give up on my measurements and just, it's the worst combination ever because it stretches, it never holds its configuration. So yeah, it's not about the pattern, nothing about Atelier Castan work, and not anything about the yarns themselves, because I really love the yarns I've used, but I really hate the result, and I learned a lot from that. As you can see, this is hugely oversized, and it keeps stretching and stretching and stretching. The more I try to wear it, because to be honest, I don't really wear it because it's so oversized. See the size of these sleeves? Well, I measured that, and I knitted to measurement, and it does not work. And regarding the yarns themselves, the yarns are very nice, and I love them separately for different uses. The Surrey alpaca is the Fiber Spades Cumulus in the color silver green, and it is, as soft as Surrey alpaca can be. And I hold it together with Mina Dyeworks sock that I brought from the Netherlands, and I was there for a few minutes, so I really liked this colorway. So This was a result from my own ignorance about yarns, and since then I learned a lot about choosing yarn for a project, and I really value now the work that goes behind not only designing a project but choosing the correct yarn to use. So yeah, this is something I will attempt to frog. I know sturdy alpaca is, it's a pain to frog, but I will attempt it because I've something I can use it for. That's that's my that's my take on this white cognac sweater. Again, nothing about the pattern, nothing about the yarns themselves. It was all about my ignorance of yarn choices and yarn combinations, and I've learned a lot through 2025 about that. And yeah, I'm never making this mistake again, so this is another frogging project. Next up is my porch lights socks. The porch light socks are by Lindsley Fowler, and they are published in the 25 weeks of socks. And yeah, I choose these because I went to Bath and brought some yarn that I could use for sock knitting. The yarn itself is West Yorkshire Spinners signature for Pride in the color Milk Bottle, and the color work is Dye Bath Deli Socks in the color Oxide. And I really like the combination. I think my problem with these socks were the needles. I was trying to use minis from Knit Pro, that zinc, I guess, and I really didn't like them. So, but I really like the result. They're a little bit big for me. I have to work on that on my socks, but regarding that, I mostly wear those when I'm at home to be comfy. I work from home a lot, so these type of projects are very welcome in my wardrobe. So I'll keep working on my socks and my sizes, and because I have now new needles, I can upgrade a little bit my sock knitting. And then I was so excited at this point of the year, maybe around May, I get so excited about starting some projects for the summer. So I again went with another Kutava Kika's pattern, which is the Sailor Swift top that I knitted in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in the colors cream and the color Dusty Honey for the stripes. I wore this top a lot during the summer. It's one of my favorite tops for the summer, and I might do another one this year. I have to be honest, I don't really like summer knits, but this just convinced me that there are some summer knits that can truly make a difference in your wardrobe, and this is one of them. I really like the yarn I used. I really like the pattern. It's just so versatile. So yeah, I'll probably be doing another one of this. I don't know if I'll make it this year. We'll see. I didn't think about my summer knits yet, so we'll see. And then afterwards, I was so excited about it that I added another Kutava Kika's a project to my summer knits, which is the Sweet Breeze top. I also knit these in Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, but I'm not entirely happy about it. I mean, I love the color, I love the fit, and I love the design. Again, it's a very versatile piece, but I don't know, I used the same needles and the same yarn for this one and this one. But I think because of the stripes, the changing stripes, it holds a little bit its shape better than this. And she actually recommends you to try to hold two yarns together for this one. And I might frog it and try that instead of using just one yarn, because I think this project will will be better, a better results if I do that. So yeah, I don't know if I will frog it. At least I don't know if I will frog it this year. But yeah, it wasn't the one I wore the most because of that. I felt the fit was a little bit off, but I really like the design and I think it's a very versatile one. So yeah, I think this is just a matter of changing my yarn. This is a light fingering, and the one she recommends is actually a fingering. So yeah, for the Sailor Swifts, I think because you're changing yarns to make the stripes, it holds a little bit better. In this one, I think if you use Native Olive Pure Silk, you should definitely hold two yarns together for a better result and coverage. Next up, I had a moment of I need to make some of the Sophie's Petite Knit patterns. I really wanted to make it even if I was in the middle of June with very hot weather already here in Portugal. So I had a little bit of leftovers from another project of Gilead by De Guerrero Natura in the color Tempate, which is, a navy blue. So I decided to go and hold it together with a silk mohair because I was really into silk mohair at that time. And yeah, so I decided to go for it. I just had to go a needle size up to the 6mm, but because this was a hoodie, it doesn't really matter. So yeah, I showed a little bit of the details about this hoodie on a previous video, so I won't be, saying too much about it at this point. But yeah, it became a staple during fall winter. I wear it a lot, like a hood, but also like a small shawl that I can put over my shoulders. It's a very versatile one, and because it has a hood, I just can wear it above my head or just like a huge scarf. That's, why the Sophie hoods and the Sophie shawls are very versatile, and that's why so many people is still working on them right now. So yeah, that's my Sophie hood. Next up, I went back to my summer knits and worked on my Margot top. And my Margot top is a pattern by Gregorio Fibers. And I used my Knitted Closet The Sweetest Viscose in the color navy blue, which is not, that deepest navy blue compared to, for example, with my Sophie hood, it is a different blue. I like it very much, and this, along with my Sailor Swift, might have been the the most worn piece, knitting piece during summer. And yeah, I really like the retro shape that it has and the pattern, as well as the drape that the yarn gives it. So yeah, this might have been one of the most wearable pieces of that I knitted during summer. So this, along with my Sailor Swift, were just my favorite summer knits this year. Next up comes my last summer knits of 2025. That it is finished, but it's not blocked. And that is my love letter top, again by Kutava Kika. At this point I wasn't going to start a new summer project, but one of my knitting club colleagues was starting this, and she, motivated me to go for it too, because it is a beautiful pattern. But I just finished knitting this right in the beginning of fall, so I didn't wear it yet. And there's another reason for that, is that I made the I-cords and I forgot to go down a needle size as the pattern suggested, and because of that they're not knits and just the armholes became too low. So what I will do is I will frog the I-cord edge, knit it in the smaller size, and also pick up less stitches around the collar and the armholes, so the fit is a little bit better. So that's why I didn't block it. It looks like it hasn't been blocked because it's a little bit, scrunchy still, and I think this lace pattern will grow a little. And I knitted this using, again, knitting for olive silk because I was just convinced with the other patterns that I was working with. In this case, I used the color cream and hold two yarns together, and I think the result is much better because of that. So yeah, I just have to, redo all the I-cords with a smaller needle and less picked up stitches, and then block it to where it's this year. It will be nice to have, a new piece without making any investment in the beginning of the warmer season. So I'm really happy about this project. I love it that so much, but I just didn't have, the energy to take the I-cord off. I just wanted at this point to start working on my fall winter knitting project. So I decided that this small touch and finishing, it will be a project for 2026. And the first project I started to work during autumn was the Frankie Sweater Junior for my son. It was a small adventure because there were so many endings to weave in this sweater that I think that was the main thing that I record in my mind. I will do this sweater again for sure. I really love the pattern itself, and the yarn, it's okay. It's not, the most convincing yarn for me. It's a little bit, stiff, but I like it, and I think it wears very nicely. I used the Sanders Garn Double Sunday. The main color is the color Almond, and the other colors are Electric Blue, that orange feeling, and Pale Blue. And I used 3mm needles. But yeah, I might go for only one contrasting color. I've been seeing this light blue as the main color and brown for the stripes. I might do it maybe 1 or 2 years from now for my son again. But yeah, for now I'm really happy with the result. I love this rolled up neck and cuffs, as well as the end of the ribbing. But it's end up to be a little bit too big for my son right now, so he will be wearing this maybe in the end of this season, maybe in the beginning of next season. It fits him, but because there's not many structure for the neckline, and the yarn is a little bit stiff to mold to your body, it's not the best thing to wear oversized for the kids. So I will be storing this until the next season. And afterwards, I decided to go and make a shawl, because shawls here in Portugal, at least for the autumn season, I think, and the spring, I think they're very versatile, because we have these days that, begin very, very cold, and then in the middle of the day, they go really, really hot, and then a few hours later, it's very cold again. So layering using shawls over, wider garments is the best way to go, especially if you're working from home, that you just can hide something very quickly. And they also go very well during the winter season, because you can, again, layer them. So this is my scarf bone shawl by Fiber Tales, and I knitted with the recommended yarn, again, knitting for olive merino, held together with their soft silk mohair in the color linen. And as you can see, the color of the linen is very close to the oatmeal, which I didn't expect that when I received my order at home. I bought this yarn during their fundraising for Gaza, so I didn't went to my local yarn shop to pick it up, which meant that I wasn't able to compare the colors. It is a little bit more, warmer color than the oatmeal, but I think it's closest enough that I know maybe I in my mind it is the same color, mostly the same color. So if I was choosing it on store, I will go for the darker option. But that's the only thing I have to say about it. I love this shawl. I love Fibertail's shawls most of all. And yeah, she decided to go for dark brown for her piece, but I decided to go for a light one because it fits a little bit more what I needed at this time. But I must confess, I might do this again in a darker color or a burgundy or something, because I love this shawl. It turned out beautifully and it wears so nicely over my dresses and over my autumn pieces. And whenever I'm working from home, I like to have it on my chair and just grab it when I need it. It's very, very nice. Next up are these two pieces for my son. He was lacking some accessories, so I decided to make it. I do not really have a pattern for this. I used some inspiration from several patterns, but just decided to make my own measurements and go for it. I use a combination of leftovers from Sunday's Garn Double Sunday and combine it with Rosario's Merino for Us, which again, I didn't, read the tag very wisely. I didn't see it was superwash. And again, I'm not, 100% happy with the pattern, with the results because of that. And I might redo these in different colors, maybe in another year when it grows out of this. And because I had some leftovers, again, I got inspired by other small projects that I found on Ravelry and decided to go and make my own small mittens. Again, I don't have a pattern for this. It's very similar to a pattern from your beanie, and that's all about this pattern. And finally, I started working on my holy sweater, which is my Christmas sweater. I really wanted a, low profile Christmas sweater, and I fell in love with this pattern because it's very subtle. You can actually wear it during winter. It's not that Christmassy that you couldn't do that. At the time, I was, struggling a little bit about the colors because red and green together are not my combination. But I managed to soften the contrast between the main color and the green using a green-based main color too, which I'm very happy about. I used silk mohair. I hold it together with the silk mohair in a lighter color, so I was also able to do, a more a marbling effect on the sweater, and I'm very happy. I'm really very happy with the result. Again, I used knitting for olive merino all together with their silk mohair. The colors I used were fennel sis for the main color of the merino, but I hold that together with the soft silk mohair in the color elderflower. And for my color work, I used pomegranates as the merino for the little, berries, and hold it together with the claret color of the soft silk mohair. And for the leaves, I used the color slate green for the merino and in combination with bottle green for the soft silk mohair. I'm very happy with the result. I think it turned out very beautiful. And I think the combination of the main color in a greenish base was the thing that held it all together for me. And I'm very, very comfortable to wear this color combination now. The Holy Sweater is also a Knitting for Olive pattern by Pernille Larsen. And yeah, the pattern itself is perfect. I just don't have nothing to say about it. The only modification I did is to add 2 rows of decreases just before the bind off, because I was seeing that the sweater was getting a little bit very loose near the ribbing for my type of body. So I just decided to add it. It has a little bit of a short rows, as you can see, in the neck, so it fits a little bit better around your body. And yeah, again, very happy about it. And finally, my last project for 2025, which was my emotional support chicken. This was on my wishful knits for the fall and winter of this season, but I didn't know at that point if I would be able to do it. But since I finished my Christmas sweater and I didn't have the yarn for my next project, I decided to go into my stash and see what I could use. So I decided to go and make my own emotional support chicken. In the beginning, I just didn't know why I should do that, because it's just this chicken, it's the stuffed animal. But then the more I saw the projects online, and the more I understand the emotional part related to that, I decided to go for it, because knitting, it is also an emotional support strategy for me. So I decided to make it a statement and do my own emotional support chicken, which is called Hen Solo, because Star Wars, and her being a, tough lady. So yeah, I'm very happy about it. The yarn I used, I don't think, I didn't, commit to that to make it very, fully explained on my Revelry. But I know this is Gilead, this is Olo Gilead by the Radio Natura, and this is something by Manos del Uruguay. Classic wool, I guess. And I had a little bit of a leftover from a project that I frogged last year. So yeah, and then some bits and bobs I had around on my stash. And I'm very happy about it. I actually have a little bit of the classic wool from Manos del Uruguay. So I might have enough for at least most of the body of another emotional support chicken. I don't know if I will, have the energy to make another one, but I'm very happy about it. My son loves it too. So Han Solo has entered our family, and yeah, it was a perfect last project for 2025. So that's it. I hope you liked this video. I'll be sharing a little bit about what I'm working on my next video. I might be adding a new video sooner rather than later, so you get a little bit of new ones about what I'm working with, and a little bit of a plan for 2026, not regarding specific projects, but maybe one or two, but regarding my mindset around what I might be valuing during this year, regarding types of projects, the balance of the type of projects I will be doing, but also the type of yarns I will use this year. And yeah, so I hope you like to see everything I knit during 2025. I'm very happy with everything I knit. I think I learned a lot regarding several aspects of knitting, the community I've been joining, not only physically but also online. So I'm very happy about 2025 regarding knitting. So I hope you can stay and follow me in 2026. If you can subscribe to this channel so you can be notified when a video comes out, it will be very nice for the channel itself. and it will be a motivation for me so I can put more content for you to see in 2026. So I hope you're wintering very well, using this time to knit as much as you can because this is the time for it. Knit alone, do it with your friends, do it alone wherever you feel it's most suitable to you. And I hope to see you on my next video. Bye!